Who wants to go first?
How have you got through, I guess, the session on the weekend, and how's it sort of feel in comparison to, like a game and that sort of thing?
Yeah, we had a good hit out. I'd say we do, 8 to 9 Ks of running for most blokes with we have like a high speed requirement that's meant to be like a game. So you sort of get a bit of work in, but nothing quite like playing a game. So just enough to keep going. I think it's about the same as what we did before the Geelong game, so that worked pretty well. So we stick with that again.
Charlie Spargo today, just relatively light work, but how's he?
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Guys have a normal rolled ankle. They'd never run on a Monday, probably not a Tuesday, and then you try to get him to train for a Wednesday. So there'd be absolutely no way he'd miss it. He didn't need a scan. They tape it up pretty tight, and worst case scenario, you'd have some painkillers for the game. He'll be absolutely fine for the game.
I can't imagine he'd have a comfortable week though, the anxiety of what if you're still going to get through training and it's the biggest week of your life.
Yeah, I think, there'd be a little bit of that, but sometimes I find when you have a minor injury, it can almost take your mind away from sort of a bit of the stress, and you're worried about the injury, you get out of the game and you realise I can just go play again. So I don't think you have any issue. It's not going to be something that really, really nags him and affects him physically too much. It'll be maybe a little bit sore after the game, but not going to affect him for 1 week.
How important is he to forward line mix?
Yeah.
Had a good final last start.
He's our best kick in the side. He's our best kick inside 50, so a really important player, probably pretty underrated, I reckon, around the competition, because a lot of the stuff he does is really subtle. But yeah, great little player, and yeah, really wanted to be playing well out there.
We saw Salem had a pretty light session today. What's the go there?
Salem's he always has pretty light Mondays, doesn't do a lot. None of the backs do much really, to be honest. But I think he's always just managed his groins through the year. He missed a week mid-season, and they've always just tried to make sure he doesn't roll into that stage he did in the middle of the year where he had to miss a game. So I think that's pretty standard for him.
Joel Smith starting to join in the main group a little bit more. How's he tracking?
I think they said this morning he's free to train with the main group this week, so I assume that makes him available for selection. He'd have to get through, I guess, but yeah, I think he's going to train with us on Wednesday.
How tough would that be if he was available? And Michael Hibbert obviously came in. How tough's that to make a change?
Yeah, look, it's horrible really that someone has to miss out somewhere. There's probably 5 to 6 guys who could lay claim to a spot on the side, and you really feel for guys who will miss out. Joel was coming into a really good, came in at the right time of the year and was playing well and just had a bit of bad luck. So, yeah, I've no idea what they're going to do, but someone's going to be pretty disappointed.
How much squad mentality so often, but this week it's only the 23 that get to go out.
Yeah.
Is this the hardest week to convince everyone that squad mentality is really important, even if you're not going to play, you're still part of it?
Well, you're always still part of it, but there'll be a part of guys who have played during the year or played a role to get into this stage of the season that would really feel like they can impact on grand final day and play well and hopefully play as part of a winning side. But look, we've been really lucky. We've got barely any injuries apart from a couple of long-term knee recos. Essentially, nearly everyone else is available. So it's an awesome spot to be in, but it's pretty tough for some guys, and if you win or lose, it's bitter for those guys who miss out.
How do you go about making sure they feel included throughout the whole week?
They're just here doing everything with us. I think it's the aspect that you've had an impact on the team getting to this stage of the year, whether it's at training, whether it's the way you've helped the guys in the side prepare. And I guess if you win the game, it's a joyous occasion for everyone, and you're remembered as being part of the team that won a grand final. So I think there'll be elation regardless if we were to win it, if you're in or out of the side.
Does it feel like a grand final week yet? I mean, it's been a fortnight, but does it feel like you're preparing for what?
I've never done it before, so I don't really know, to be honest, but it's definitely a bit more low-key being here. You're not at home with a TV going. I've barely had the TV on in the room, and we don't have the newspaper out every morning to see things. So it's definitely felt a bit more subdued than even it did in Melbourne when we played in 2018 in the prelim. So hopefully that's a good thing. I understand how much everyone's got around the game here, but we're probably not interacting with people as much as you would if you're in Melbourne. So I think until we really get there on the day, it'll still feel a bit subdued. But it was a bit, when we got there on the prelim and you realise, geez, there's 60,000 here, that's when it felt like being back to real finals footy.
I know you did something with the club the other day after you re-signed, but can you believe on a personal level that you're here now? How close did it come to sort of, looking else? I know you was potentially looking elsewhere and that sort of thing. Can you believe now that you're here? Yeah, looking elsewhere. No one wanted me. So, look, to be in that position was, disappointing, and you think, geez, could this be it after this year? I suppose I had next year, but you're sort of looking down the barrel of not having many games left at AFL level to be rewarded to stay with the club for a couple more years is really exciting. And but I think I know that I deserved it because I put the work in to get to that stage, and
I've been a part of helping the club get back to playing finals footy, so I knew I could contribute and be valuable to the team. And fortunately, I think it's a good deal for both sides to help us be competitive into the future and allow me to stay on the side.
You've spoken before about what you've done personally to get things right in terms of diet and all that other stuff. Has there been someone as well that's helped you, maybe a light bulb moment or anything like that?
A little bit, I guess. Conversations with Goody at the end of the year were pretty frank about where I was at, and I decided when I went into my exit interview I was going to be really honest about where I was at and not try to make an excuse or sugarcoat it. So, and that was the best thing for both of us, for him to see that I was serious about getting back and to see that he would still work with me if that was the case. But honestly, it was probably just a lot of sitting by yourself in the off season with my wife Ruby as well, and talking about what we wanted to achieve and what I could do. So I think it was a fair bit of I didn't work with a counsellor or anyone like that. It was just, I don't know, go back to what's worked before and do the hard work.
When you said no one wanted you, was there not even a bit of interest there?
Oh, if I cut my salary in 90%, I might have got a gig somewhere, but I wouldn't have been able to live on that wage at the moment. So it's, essentially not really. No.
And what was that like for you?
Look, I was lucky that I was still contracted to Melbourne, and so I knew I could at least come back and try and prove myself. So, but yeah, it was a bit, it's disappointing. Yeah, because I think a couple of years before that, I would have been welcome at a lot of other clubs, but the doors get closed pretty quick.
Do you see it now as a blessing in disguise?
Oh yeah, I was talking to Benny Brown about it after the game. We go, well, he's left North Melbourne, essentially pushed him out the door as well, and we thought Melbourne were going to be pretty poor. We didn't think we were going to be at this level, and to both be here playing in a grand final side, regardless of if we win or lose, I think we're both winning on a personal level there.
His arrival was a threat for you as well in a way, but the way it's all worked, the combination seems to be working really well now.
Yeah, I guess so. It's look, I wouldn't have said it was a threat because I understood that they were looking for more key forward options, and I had actually sort of discussed playing a different role, and I'd done a lot of training on the wing, and I think it was if they hadn't got injured in the pre-season, I reckon that could have been where I was playing for a lot of the year, but not to be. And in the end, he's ended up getting back in the side, and I think we've worked pretty well together. Neither of us, Benny's had a couple of big games, but neither of us have been dominant, I don't think, in the last 6 to 8 weeks, but it's been our team's best footy in the last 6 weeks. So I think what we've realised is our job can be pretty simple to allow the rest of the team to play pretty well, and it's just compete in the air, not get outmarked, and just keep following up on the ground. It's pretty simple for us, and if we do that, it brings the rest of our smalls into the game and allows us to just have solid games, and the rest of the team can really shine. So it's a pretty simple formula for us this week.
Alex Keith is obviously one of you will end up probably playing on should he get up from his own hamstring. Given he's coming off that shorter turnaround from that hammy, can you exploit him in any way, do you think? Do you put more work into him?
I don't think so. I think he's probably had 3 weeks, I think, since he's done it, so he's probably had the full recovery. I guess if you're coming off shorter recovery, you could think maybe there's an exploitation there, but I don't think that'll be the case. And he's a really good player. So no, I think whoever he plays, I know that Bulldogs try to they mix their matchups up through the game, and whoever's playing on him will have a big job, as I said before, on the just competing in the air, bringing the ball to ground, and letting the rest of our game go to work.
Just back on your forward line, Tom, you hear backlines talk about they're a blue collar backline, things like that. What's the character of the forward line, do you think?
I'd like to think we're a pretty selfless forward line. Guys do their part. We're not a team that hunts the footy. We're not a team that has a rock star who kicks goals every week. We seem to have different blokes pop up, and Bailey has some weeks where he kicks 6, and then some weeks where he seems quiet, but he seems to play the same role every week. I would just say we're a very disciplined and selfless forward line at this stage.
Do you feel like it's your time?
I don't know. Who knows? There's a lot of look. All I can say is we put ourselves in the best possible position to play well on grand final day, but it guarantees you nothing, I guess. So we give ourselves a chance, and there's a huge amount of luck and everything that goes in on the day, and hopefully what we've done is good enough to get it done.